One here. Today I will be completing a model that I started last week. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend you go watch it because it really helps start the basis for what I'm doing today. I make this model that you can see me painting. This is of Yuri from Doki Doki Literature Club. She's my favourite character in the game by a long shot, and I wanted to bring her to life, so I just start to paint her hair this nice purple colour, and it's just purple mixed with a bit of blue to bring out some nice blue undertones. And yeah, I just paint over it. The hair was a bit of a pain to paint because of the way I made the hair with the wool. There are some pockets and gaps that are hard to reach with a paintbrush because they just don't want to fill with paint. But yeah, it just required a lot of going over and touching up, and I think it comes out okay. So yeah, I just keep going over it, trying to get in all the crannies and stuff, and until I get this nice solid colour that I'm going for. I then take this nice blue colour that I have and I use it on her skirt. She has this really cute schoolgirl skirt, and yeah, I just do this in this nice bright blue colour. And I just try and make sure to go all the way around, even where the hair's hanging down over it. It's a bit of a pain to paint there, but it must be done. So yeah, it's just about getting in all the nooks and crannies and places that are hard to reach with the paintbrush, make sure no one gets overlooked or neglected. It's a back and forth process because obviously as you go in these areas, you're going to get some parts which are harder to, like where you go over places that shouldn't be painted or that. I'm sorry about that camera shake. I'm now mixing up a nice skin tone colour using equal parts of this pale, like off-white colour and this orange colour. I then slap this all over her face, her ears, her hands and her legs. And I just keep going back and forth. I lost some of the footage of me doing the jacket, but I do it all in this grey colour that you can see me adding here. And yeah, I now mix up some yellow with a bit of purple in order to make a brown colour. To get brown, you need to mix any two opposite colours on the colour wheel, so red and green, or yellow and purple, or blue and orange. So yeah, now I just slap this all over the wooden base that we have here to represent the colour of the classroom floor, the clubroom floor, I guess. I then mix some red with a bunch of other colours, like with some blacks and greens to try and get this nice muted, deep red colour for the book. I don't want this to be too bright because Yuri reads horror, and the idea of having a vibrant red horror book doesn't sit well with me. Like the only book we really see her reading in game is The Portrait of Markov, which is a horror book. So yeah, I do this blue-black wash on her. This is just blue mixed with a bit of black and then heavily watered down. I run it over the hair and then I tap it away with a piece of tissue. I now dry brush a bit of this lighter purple in places. I'm not a huge fan of dry brushing. I don't always like the effect it creates, but in this case I think it worked out okay. So yeah, I tend to use it in very small amounts on places with a lot of texture. Like the hair has a lot of rough surface, so I decided to dry brush it on because it does add something to the highest points of the model. I then go over any white areas which have got a bit muddy in the process. I also dot on the eyes with this detail brush. So yeah, I do a similar blue wash on her skirt to bring out the folds and wrinkles that are there. And I now take this purple colour and use it on her eyes. I just carefully dot on tiny little circles, just as a bit of detail. I just make them as carefully, as accurately round as possible. I then dot on this light blue for the tips of her shoes. Yeah, her shoes are blue, on the very ends and nowhere else. So yeah, I add on these little blue toes for her shoes. It's a very light colour, it's pretty subtle, but I think it does add something. I like it, so I guess that's what counts. I now take this just scrap piece of paper and I do a nice black layer on it. This is going to form the strip that goes around the book. So yeah, I just do that, and then I cut out a strip, glue up the book, and then I just add this by wrapping it around, and then I just trim off the excess. I found this was easier than trying to paint on an even strip, because if I tried to do that, it would be a mess. I dot on some pupils very carefully. You want them to be noticeable, but not to cover the entirety of the iris. So yeah, I just dot these on as accurately as possible. And I like it, so yeah. I then take these scraps of thread and use them to make the eyebrows on Yuri. I just apply them, and then you can move them around to try and adjust the expression before the glue dries. Obviously, it's hard to get them right because the eyebrows are such an expressive part of the face. I do the eyelashes in the same way here. I stick them down, and then I trim off the excess. I now Mod Podge over everything. When I do Mod Podge, I always like to do these little dotting motions to avoid blurring the paint or dragging it. And I also try to stick to areas of one colour at a time, and to make sure there's no colour being dragged up by cleaning off the brush before I go on to the next section to avoid contamination. So yeah, I just go through and Mod Podge over everything. This gives it a nice finish, makes it look all professional, and it helps seal in the paint, so it's unlikely to get damaged or chipped. Also, these areas which are fragile at the ends of the hair and stuff, this just helps make it more solid and reduces the risk of any damages taking place. So yeah, I go all over the hair, all over her skirt, her shirt, everything. I Mod Podge over everything. I also do a couple coats of this off camera. I like to make a nice thick layer of Mod Podge. I just find that really helps to solidify everything, and I really like that. So yeah, just keep going over everything, and I go over. I'm working my way top down, trying to keep stuff at the same colour. I go over all the flooring, and yeah, this dries clear. So any white spots I trim off the excess cardboard around the base, and make that all nice and neat. And yeah, I'm happy. This is what it looks like in the end. I'm really happy with this. It's much more detailed than any other models I've made. I really like it. Tell me what other characters you'd like to see me do. And I would like to ask you to follow me on Instagram at HannahMouseCrafts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.